How are we doing?
Hi there.
Hi there.
Hello.
Welcome to this week's Adam Asks Jess, where I put client questions to Jess.
I'm ready.
To you
I'm
guys.
ready. What we got? What we got this week?
This week's going to be about strategy.
Ooh, strategy.
It's talked about all the time. I think people sell courses and books about it. I get asked it a lot. What's your main strategy? What do you guys offer?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that.
I like the word. I like having a strategy.
Really cool funk song.
I think you might get the impression that Adam's a bit disparaging about it sometimes, because sometimes people, what is a strategy? Just having a good think about something, innit, and coming out with an informed decision. What you're thinking is some people spend either too long on it or actually think they've got a strategy and probably haven't.
Too hung up on an area
or something. Yeah, I know.
It doesn't work in the area that they wanted to buy in.
So we're going to talk.
Actually,
Going to talk about a few things, yeah.
Yeah, but also I wanted to mention something else. During a recent discovery call, a client of ours asked, and he shared this article, how come you guys don't invest in any of these areas? After I'd done my bit where I explained where we work and where we invest and everything, so he says, we found this top 10 places to invest in the UK.
Yep. And we don't buy in any of those areas.
You don't buy in any. Yeah. You told me all the areas where you guys buy, but you don't buy in any of these.
Yeah.
I said, well, we used to.
Yeah.
So number one for
in fact, actually, was it a top 10 list? I think was it
top 10? One of them top 10 lists.
We had bought in 4 of them or so. I can't remember exactly, but plenty of them.
We definitely had bought in area 1.
Some of the top one. In fact, actually, with the very top one on that list, we had been bought. The answer is it was a list of all the best places to invest last year. It had to be. It can't be all the best. It was basically the places that had gone up in value the most last year. You can't buy last year. You can only buy this year.
Can't invest last
so you've got to keep them. In actual fact, you can't. If you'd have wanted to buy last year, you'd have had to think about buying 2 years ago, put your actions in place, and then actually bought, and then you'd legally completed. Then the land registry would go through. So actually, you're probably talking about the stuff that. The top number one is a Nottinghamshire. Is it Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire, South Yorkshire?
Yeah,
it's a border town. Yeah. So is that? And we've bought a lot in that area.
But we don't.
I don't think we've bought much there for the last 3 years or so. No. So I've seen a couple of comments. Thank you for writing back on YouTube. Feel free, stick a comment in. Is now a good time to say subscribe and click the bells and
say it all the time. We don't really.
But just keep saying it. Subscribe and get the numbers up and. Put your thumbs up and
stuff like
all that stuff. But also write comments, because one of the comments was about we did a video last week about areas, and I'm quite heavily into the northeast at the moment. I'm buying quite a bit. I like the area, and I got a bit of stick for it. So I think that'll never happen. That'll never work. There's too much unemployment.
Good. That's what they used to say about all the other areas.
Exactly.
No longer buying.
Exactly. That's it. So you've got to be a bit brave to get into that area, for sure. You've definitely got to be a bit brave. I mean, buying in the areas where I would normally buy, some of our clients just wouldn't. Some they just wouldn't, and that's fine, by the way. And I think that's bringing us back to this word strategy. It's got to be fine.
It makes me laugh as well. Things get a stigma, a stereotype. Someone said to me, it's too far north. So I've got a client in Scotland who calls it the south.
Yeah.
So too far north for him. He thinks it's great, cheap. He lives in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Good point.
So,
good point.
Yeah.
Remind me what the question again. So
we've done. We're in danger of straying from the question. So
So the question is.
The question was about strategy. What's the best strategy? To go with now, this year, going forward? Is it still buy, refurbish, refinance? Should I be buying houses with a mortgage? Etc. Etc.
The answer is that really frustrating. It depends, it's what you'd hope for from us, I guess. It is.
It depends if you.
It depends. I can run through why and how.
Yeah. If you want to stretch your investment pot as best you can, then it's buy, refinance, use mortgages, get as much back out, and keep going and going and going. I know guys who work in London in the city. They don't want to do that. They just want to take their big bonuses and buy a house with cash.
Yep, that's happening a lot as well. If that's their strategy, that's fine.
Is it the perfect strategy?
So,
and it's not for me to tell them they're wrong.
Nope. It's important to have that conversation. That we'd call it creating a buy-to-let business plan. It's something we can help clients with doing. When clients come in to see us, we'll help them create a buy-to-let business plan. And it's important to have that conversation. I've just been reminded of, and these kind of things happen reasonably regularly. We get clients referred to us, and without naming names or anything, I'm just trying to think. Maybe I don't want to drop anybody in it. But yeah, somebody comes to us. They're halfway through a progress of a sale of a flat. You know the one, okay? Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. And they're referred to us because do you know what? I think they might want some advice, as it was put. But I think what's actually happened is the person that's potentially going to be the managing agent, I think they went somewhere else and it came through, and it's like they've lost patience with this person, because this person is more than halfway through a purchase. What's actually stopped them is it's a flat and it's got the cladding problem, so they've got to get the certificates.
Due to sell complete last week.
It was, yeah. So come over. It wasn't actually the cladding problem that was the biggest thing. They've just got to get the certificate. They can't work out how to get it, or they don't really know much about it, and it's either easy to get or it's hard to get. No, sorry. Either easy to get or it's impossible to get because it doesn't exist. In that case, actually, we've realised it's impossible to get. You just check. So she's hitting her head against a brick wall there. But then asking some other questions. Okay, what did you buy it for? What would it rent for? What's your plan? What's your strategy? Why have you chosen this house? This lady, this lady didn't know what the property was going to rent for. Like, didn't know how much money it could rent for. Didn't know the first thing about how to find a tenant. She didn't think she was speaking to a letting agent to start off with. I mean, yes, we can find you a tenant, but you didn't know that before you spoke to us. It's not that hard, but she hadn't thought about it. She hadn't thought about any of the next steps. Essentially, she'd not had any form of conversation. It was a bit worrying because she'd nearly bought this house. So stepping all the way back, and I'm sure nobody watching this video is going to be as crazy as that, but when it comes to having a strategy, you've got to consider all those things. Put together a business plan. How much capital have you got? How long have you got to achieve what it is that you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? What is the top line? What is the probably three different? What's the bare minimum enough, to do whatever you need to do? What would be nice, and then what's the shoot for the stars kind of number? How much risk you want to take on? How much leverage? How much of the kind of areas that I love, the northeast, the scrappy little areas, but maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to buy just slightly, let's say, nicer. I don't believe in that at all. It's nothing to do with nicer or not in terms of yield or reliability. What people perceive as a more leafy suburb, and maybe that might get you more stable and bigger capital growth. Certainly, if you get the same percentage capital growth, but you get a bigger house, then it's bigger numbers, isn't it? Leverage. Some of our clients are prepared to leverage quite highly and keep leveraging, keep re-gearing, and some aren't. And then there's everything in between on all of those different levels. You put that picture together as a strategy. It could lead you to buying a little grot box somewhere, call it a grot box. It could lead you to buying a vanilla terraced house for £250,000 that's just very stable, £1,200 a month rent. It could lead you to buying an HMO, housing multiple occupation. Client comes to us and they've got a set pot, a substantial but limited pot, maybe £500,000, £1 million, and they want X income from it. £5,000 a month, £10,000 a month, bang, into HMOs, and that does it. But it does come with a certain risk and a certain amount of noise in the portfolio. So, I think it's a conversation. That's what we do at Discovery Day.
I was going to say, so when somebody said to me that they weren't a client just yet, what is the best strategy? Well, you're about to embark on creating a business, essentially. You're setting up a limited company, you're going to buy some property with it, you don't really know what you're doing. The best strategy is to sit down with me and my team, and we'll create you a buy-to-let business plan. That's your strategy. Let's start off there, and let's work it all out, because that's what we do. And then when we've sat down and gone through all of those things, we'll know, your best thing for you right now is we need to find you something that you can buy with a mortgage, because your pot was limited, you weren't going to have enough money to do it, anything else really, or it might be something else, but we don't know until we've sat down and gone through it. You've got to
write
business planning bit, and that's what we do.
There's essentially 5 different topics of conversation, each one with 2 or 3 different choices. By the time you've gone around it, tick, 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 it's like, well, that's what's for me. And maybe it's a choice of 1 or 2, or maybe just clearly it is that. But yeah, that business planning, that's what I do personally. I do that, and I review it all the time, but definitely once every year. Once a year it becomes something that comes out. Is this still right? What's happening there? Review the stuff that we've been doing last year, check the numbers were what we thought they were, and all that information gets put in a spreadsheet, and that's available as it gets used for benchmarks for planning future stuff for this year. Some numbers aren't relevant for this year because they're the past, but lots of it are numbers that can be used to eye in future numbers, confirm that's roughly the yield we've been getting in that area. If you go back 3 years, it's going up, going down, whatever it is. So we come up with all those kind of numbers. That's what's led us to the northeast and away from some of the other places. Tells us how HMOs are performing, the impact of utility bills, for example, on HMOs, which isn't as dramatic as you think it would be, depending on, there's some outliers, of course. People haven't got a deal, haven't got a rate deal, but how long will that last? And it's creating some good opportunities. Maybe somebody who was not risk averse, they want to take a bit of risk, will be buying some of the stuff that the HMO landlords are selling up because they've got a problem. So the same property in different people's hands could be, this one person that's selling needs an income regularly, and they need it now, and they need to rely on it. This person can buy it and hold it for 2 years because they'll buy it a little bit cheaper because they'll get a discount on it, and it'll come up in value, and it'll still be making money, and then they've got something for the future. It's all, the same property in different people's hands can work. So worth having the conversation with Adam. Book yourself onto a discovery call. Should we put a link in the description or something? Yeah, they'll be in the description. I don't think I can do that. I might be able to. I don't know. I don't think we can do it. Just in the video description, click to book a discovery call, and we'll start helping you build a buy-to-let business plan. We won't get it all done in one go, but we'll have a good go at it, and you can keep coming back.
A few questions, of you, we'll know what your best strategy is.
Superb. Well, having a strategy is really important. Getting one it takes some work. 5 different spokes, as we call them, on our wheel. 2 or 3 questions on each, and you'll be well there. Come to Discovery Day, answer it. Right, we're done.
Yeah.
Cheers. Off down the pub then.
Nice one.